Welcome back inside of the Indigo Sky Casino pregame show. It is the final game of this homestand. It's a kids' day here at Arvest Ballpark. We're sitting down with last night's starting pitcher, left-hander J.C. Cloney. And, boy, J.C., how about that for a Double-A debut? You go out there, you throw 6 shutout innings. The Naturals winning a walk-off. What a thrill that was for you. How was the dugout life after Emmanuel got that double?
Yeah, it was definitely crazy. Coming here, dropping the first couple games to the series, and then coming out and doing that. It just shows that we're not going to give up. And I think some guys, the attitude may have changed. The pace of the game was going and going, and then they happened to tie it. And then I think the dudes just didn't give up. And everybody knew coming into the ninth that, hey, 1 run and we're going to win this thing. And sure enough, you get that, choopy as they call it, and, we score, and, everything's great in the clubhouse.
Naturals picked up a 3-2 walk-off win last night. You go 6 innings of shutout baseball. You hadn't faced this lineup before. What was your game plan? What was the conversation like with pitching coach Doug Henry in preparation for last night's ball game?
Yeah, it was a lot of game planning. We watched film a couple days ago. Yesterday we were talking Valoria, Esposito, and X. We were all in there, figuring out what we wanted to do. Sautier was in there as well, and actually talking with Jace Vines. He kind of was just easing the mind because you come up to here, everybody's going to be a lot better than the year before. So. Just making sure you're living down, trying to stick to the corners. It's harder to get, hit hard on the corners and down. So that was our main game plan. And then just mixing speeds, in, out, down, off speed. So once we kind of got that rolling, it was more just going out and executing the plan.
That seems to be your game. Work quick, locate. When did that develop for you in your career?
For me, it was actually in high school. I didn't really I was a first baseman pitcher in high school, and I didn't like slow pitchers. So for me, I was like, if I'm pitching, I want my defense to always be ready. And I like to work quick because if they're on their toes, they might get to that ball that, if you're working slow, they might get on their heels and they don't get to it. So for me, it's always been more I do it for them rather than do it for myself. One, you also don't think, but doing it for them, I'm just hoping that, if I'm working quick and they're constantly getting ready and they don't have time to think, they don't lull into, being on their heels, they might get to that ball that, might be the difference in a 1-run game. So I kind of do it just to make sure that everyone's alert and you get a flow to it. So when you get a flow, the catcher kind of gets what you want to do, and then it's just bang, bang, bang. And so it just goes. And also, if you get the hitter, they might start thinking differently, and they might be like, oh, well, he's done this. And then by the time you're throwing, you do something different, you might get them off. So there's just a bunch of different components into it.
What about the command aspect of your game? There's nothing real flashy about you. I was talking with Rusty Kuntz. He described you as a scouting nightmare because you go out there, you get the job done. There's nothing that jumps out about your stuff, but your command, where did that come from?
For me, I've never been one to, light up the radar gun. So if I can't do that, I better be able to command pitches, and I better be able to throw them whenever. So it's just been something, for years working with different pitching coaches. It's been, fine-tuning. I mean, one of our things that we preach is repeatable delivery. And, if you don't have a repeatable delivery, it's going to be hard to command your pitches. So for me, starting at I'd say probably 11, 12 years old, it's just the same delivery, whether it's good or bad, whatever. Just make sure it's the same every time on every pitch, and then your hand will find where it needs to go, and then you can fine-tune that little inch. And so for me, it's just been being sure I can repeat the delivery on every pitch.
Left-handed pitcher J.C. Cloney joining us here on the Indigo Sky Casino pregame show. Yesterday was my first time watching you, and your windup, I was looking at it, I'm like, golly, that reminds me of somebody. And I looked up some video of Tom Glavine. Have you seen video of him? Your mechanic is almost exactly the same.
Yeah, I watched the latter part of his career growing up, kind of gotten really into baseball in about the 99, 2000 years, so got to watch him a little bit, the Maddox, the Smoltzes. So I don't necessarily model my, wind-up or whatever after anybody. It kind of just worked that way out, but, if you're going to model it after anybody, he's not a bad one to do it. So.
Now, you're from Southern California. Who was your team? Were you a Dodger fan?
No, so my family actually my parents grew up in the Bay Area in Northern California, so they were Giants fans, so they don't like the Dodgers. So my mom's side of the family lives in Orange County, so it was actually the Angels growing up when they had the Salmons, the Percivals, and the Garrett Andersons. So watching them win it in 02 was a cool thing. So, we go to games every once in a while, but now it's, because we play at the same time, it's a lot harder to get out to really any games.
JC Cloney giving us a few minutes here on today's Indigo Sky Casino pregame show. JC, congratulations on the win. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back with today's starting pitching matchup right after these words on the Naturals Radio Network.